Hey everybody, it's Brad with the Big Family Homestead, and today, folks, it's been quite a while since I've had a bee in my bonnet, and I've been choking this one back for a while. We're talking tech, we're talking DNA, we're talking gender programming, and all kinds of madness in just a few seconds. Check out the title screen. Yes, you know that I have always been interested in all things technology, grew up in music, grew up in video production, grew up in computer programming, and so anytime I see a Star Wars show or a Star Trek show, that kind of stuff really percolates inside of me. And so I've always loved it until just recently, in the last 5-ish years, stuff that used to be considered way, way, way taboo and way, way, way scary technology that we should never even consider trying is now being tried. Now, before I go any further, I want to open the doors for you to comment, but what I would appreciate is if you wouldn't mind waiting till you see the end of the video and then start commenting, because you never know where I might end up, and you may start typing and going, oh, I'm with Brad on this, and then all of a sudden I take a left turn and you're like, oh, I don't agree with that at all. Or is it the opposite? So, want to hear what you have to say, but hear me out. Okay, so here's the deal. I have been seeing a lot in the news and on different blogs and different scientific publications online that there is a Chinese scientist group that has claimed that they have figured out a way to program DNA to make a boy or girl. Yes, I said that correctly. That they figured out a way to program the DNA so that they can go ahead and have a boy or a girl. Now, first of all, we'll deal with ramifications here in just a second, but let's talk about the possibilities. What could this be good for? What if you could, program DNA to make perfectly healthy, blonde hair, blue-eyed kids? That's never been tried before in history, right? Right? Well, forget about the Nazis, but you could pick and choose. Once they figure out how to manipulate this data and this DNA, then, oh, you want a strong son? Okay, no problem. He's got to have a lot of immunity to this, and this. Okay, not a problem. And I guarantee you it's going to come at the price of only the rich can afford. Think about it. What happens to a society if all of a sudden you can pick your offspring down to hair color, shoe size, all of those things, whether you're going to be, have allergies or never need glasses? What's that do to the rest of society who can't afford that technology? Now, a quick story for you. The whole tampering with the DNA and the stuff that I view as God's territory. And I mean, this is his domain, and we're tinkering with it, and I don't think it's a good idea, but I'll get back to that. But several years ago, I was in this band. It was a ministry band, and we had the opportunity to play for a broadcast network called EWTN, which is a national Catholic TV show, and many shows. It's a network. And we were brought in to talk about our faith because it's unusual that, kids that are exuberant like us that wanted to jump up and down and tell everybody about God, that was not the norm at the time, especially not being in a rock band. And so they brought us in to talk about that. But while we were there, I had the most awesome chance encounter. Well, maybe not chance at all. We'll see. But the head of all of Catholicism, this guy worked for the Vatican, and he was the top guy for bioethics and technology for the Catholic Church. His job was to be knowledgeable about everything and anything that is tech or biologically driven so that he could give direct reports to the Pope so that the Pope could make better decisions and blah, 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 blah. He was the guy. Now, one thing that was, I'm still just blown away by it, I had a question. So he's trying to feel us out and be like, what are these guys? Who, what, you're here? And we were trying to just ask him questions, being that he's like the tip of the spear, as it were, for Catholicism when it comes to tech. And so I pipe up and I said, I got a question for you. And I said, well, what happens when humans finally figure out how to clone humans? Do they have a soul? And he didn't miss a beat. He just said, absolutely they would. He said, just because we humans put the puzzle together does not mean that it's not God who gives the spark of life. Now, think about that story as we're thinking about the whole gender programming, whatever DNA manipulation that's coming down the pike. But the question I have with all of this stuff, first of all, why is it that we always go down the route as humans of never talking about this stuff on a whole as making decisions? Not can we do it, should we do it? Think about the ramifications. I mean, just as a for instance, China has a problem with, they only have that one child ditty, and if you have another one, it's gone, right? So who are moms and dads going to pick to have more influence in the family, go out and make money? Well, it's an easy thing because they're doing it right now. They pick the boy and they abort the girl. Now, that's not everybody, of course, but what would that do to a nation if all of a sudden, over the course of 20 years, you go from a 60%, 70% male population to, 80% population male? I mean, that's going to make serious global ripples. And then, of course, then comes the programming of strength and intelligence and all of these things that now we are tinkering with and have the ability to tinker with. So what does that look like? What does that look like when all of a sudden, at first it'll of course be for the rich, and it may always ever be for the rich. It may always be the elites and the upper class say, you know what? That's a great technology for me and my buddies. But you filthy, unwashed masses out there, people like me, no can do, my friend, no can do. And so then what's it going to be like? Well, you have these groups of elite super people who can think and run and have more strength, faster and better and everything than everybody else, and they guard that tech for themselves? Or is it going to be like some, utopian Star Trek moment where we all decide for one moment in history, there is no more racism for real, there is no more bigotry, there is no more this, there is no more that, and we all share money, and it doesn't matter because you're going to make the same amount of money I do, even though I'm a captain and you're a lowly blah, blah, blah. Something tells me that humans do not work well when the playing field is flat, and then there are certain people who still have a lot of influence. Seems to me that all the benefit goes to the people with influence, and they just let us think the playing field is flat. Oh, sure, yeah, you're important. Well, what's it say in that book, The Animal Farm, right? Well, the pigs are more equal than the rest of the folkies. So what's it look like if we go down this road? If we start programming DNA, picking genders, all that kind of stuff, what's it going to look like? How's it going to affect society? Will it affect me? Certainly it'll affect me. It'll affect all of us. But nobody asks the question, should we do a thing? It's always, can we do it? And then it's a race to see who can get there first. And I got to tell you what, guys, there are days when I just get super excited about where we are as humans in terms of the tools we have at our hands. I mean, think about it. I'm recording with my cell phone that sits in my pocket a video that is going to, in a few hours, be globally viewable. That's insanely amazing. We live in a time that has, bar none, openness, transparency, and the ability to get knowledge from all walks of life, all over the globe, instantly within seconds. That's amazing. But with every amazing thing, there are evil people that will manipulate every nasty way that they can just fill their pockets with dollars, and they want their own. Now what happens when you deal with the actual, it's not tech that you're holding, but it's a person in front of you. Oh, and what happens when they start incorporating the tech into the people? Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. Type down below what you think. I think it's fair to say that you've probably seen that it's not my cup of tea, that we say, hey, you know what, God? That's a pretty nice chair you sit in there. Do you mind scooting over so I can put my big old bahookie in there and let science do crazy stuff for a while? I don't think it'll end well. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure it won't end well because I've read the book. Anyway, type. I'm Brad with the Big Family Homestead. You guys have an amazing day.